guys, γεια σας και καλώς ήρθατε to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're making a quick and easy skillet that's perfect for any busy weeknight because it comes together in like 30 minutes, full of flavor, delicious. Let me tell you what it's called. We're making a Mediterranean style chicken pesto skillet that's gonna have spinach and halloumi and flavorful pesto in there. So easy to do. Now, so the recipe begins with 2 chicken breasts that I've sliced into strips. You can use chicken cutlets if you want, or you could even cut the chicken into little cubes so that way it's easy to eat. I just feel like the strips stay a little bit juicier. That's why we're using that. If you want to use boneless, skinless chicken thighs, that works as well. And I'm also using homemade pesto. I have a delicious and easy recipe, and it beats the store-bought pesto by like a million times. It's so flavorful. It doesn't have any preservatives or any like tanginess that's added to the container sold at the store. So if you have time, it takes a few minutes, make some, lasts long in the refrigerator, and it also freezes well. But if you don't have time and you want to use store-bought, that's fine too. I'm going to start by seasoning the chicken simply with some salt and pepper because all of the flavor is going to come from the pesto. And you want to make sure you always season both sides so that way there's lots of flavor. So now I have a cast iron skillet heating over medium heat. I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of olive oil to it. And I'm going to brown the chicken on both sides for about 2 to 3 minutes. So once the chicken is done, you're going to have all that flavor in the bottom of the pan. Now you're going to add some grape or cherry tomatoes, and you're going to cook them until they look like they're starting to wrinkle. That means they're going to soften and become very, very sweet. I'm also going to season them with a little bit of salt. And the chicken is not fully cooked, so you want to keep that in mind. Try to taste it. Sometimes you get the kids coming in the kitchen trying to taste what you're cooking. You definitely don't want to have anyone taste undercooked chicken. They can get sick. So while the tomatoes are cooking, I'm just going to roughly chop a block of halloumi cheese. Halloumi cheese is sold in Middle Eastern and Mediterranean grocery stores. It's delicious. It's cheese. It's different. It's because it doesn't melt. It softens and just holds its texture, I guess. Has really good flavor. It's pretty mild too, but it's very delicious. Now, instead of halloumi, you can definitely use feta cheese, or you can leave the cheese out if you don't want any. There's Parmesan cheese in the pesto anyway, but this really adds more texture and flavor. So I'm just gonna chop it into little pieces, bite-sized pieces. Okay, the tomatoes are looking really, really good. They're starting to get a little bit of a char on them. Now I'm going to add some spinach. I have 2 packs of baby spinach here. I'm not even going to roughly chop it. It's just going to wilt down into almost nothing, but it's going to add a lot of moisture to the dish, which we need. So 2 packs, this is about 10 ounces. And it looks like a lot, but you're going to see in no time it is going to wilt down. And the spinach comes, it says thoroughly washed on the package. I'm going to trust them. It is going to cook down anyway. I don't take the extra step of washing things that are already washed because it's just extra work, and then drying it is a whole other task. But if you want to wash it another time, be my guest. Just make sure that you dry it really well. Maybe put it in a salad spinner to get rid of that extra water. Okay, and while that's happening, that's going to be done in like 2 more minutes. It wilts down really quickly. I'm going to take some pesto, about 1/2 cup. That looks about right. And I'm going to mix in some half and half. You could use heavy cream if you want to. So 1/2 cup of pesto with 1/2 cup of half and half. This is going to thin it out a little bit and just help it become more creamy, so that way it'll just create more of a sauce in the pan. That's looking really good. Now I'm going to add the halloumi cheese in. And the chicken is going to go back in there with all of the juices. And I'm going to add the pesto sauce. I'm going to give everything a nice mix so that way the sauce is distributed throughout the whole dish. And of course, if you like heat like me, you're going to add a little pinch of crushed red pepper flakes. If not, just leave it out. I'm going to let this simmer. It's starting to bubble up, so I'm going to reduce the heat. I'm going to let this simmer for about 6 minutes or so. The sauce is going to thicken, the chicken is going to be fully cooked, and then we're going to add the finishing touches. If you have a lid, it would be a good idea to cover this with a lid so that way the sauce stays nice and moist. And I mean, we've already created tons of splatter here by browning the chicken. It's going to be a big mess to clean up. But if you have a lid, put it on there. Otherwise, just lower the heat and keep an eye on it. And just like that, in under 30 minutes, you have a delicious meal that is ready to be served. Now, this is low carb as is, and it would taste great with some cauliflower rice or some roasted veggies. Whatever you want to eat with it, it's delicious. But if you're not worried about staying away from carbs, boil your favorite pasta and put this on top because that sauce is delicious. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, it's super flavorful. The only thing that I did once it was done cooking was I squeezed the juice of half a lemon on top. It just gives it a little bit freshness and more flavor. If you want to make it even more rich, you can sprinkle some what is it called? Some shredded mozzarella on top of that. It's just going to make it really nice and cheesy. So yummy. This is something that the whole family will love. It is time to take a bite. Make sure you taste it also. If it needs more seasoning, go ahead and add it in. So many textures. First of all, it's very fresh tasting and super flavorful. The tomato and the halloumi together just take it to the next level. The spinach makes it extra healthy and light. You guys are going to love this. The recipe, as always, is in the description box down below, as well as on the website, dimitrasdishes.com. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yes, us.